When it comes to the races of Tamriel, the Dunmer or Dark Elves are arguably one of the most popular among the Elder Scrolls fanbase. Their appearance, culture, and society are one of the most interesting aspects about them because of how their histories shape who they are today. Of course, most of their popularity is due to the Morrowind game that displays its hostile environment and unique architecture along with their rich history. Because of that, I've always come across mods that represents Dunmer society in Skyrim. So in this video, we'll be looking at some of the best Dunmer mods that not only showcase their distinct culture, but can also be used for role-playing purposes for creating a Dunmer type character. Before we begin though, I just want to make it clear that all these mods are more focused on the Dark Elves, and therefore I won't be covering mods that affect other races, like Imperius, Diversity, and Wintersun, even though those are also recommended for a playthrough. Anyway, let's begin. We'll start off with one of the most popular player home mods in Skyrim, Tel Nalta. This mod uses the hardfire system to grow your very own home like the Telvanni wizards in Morrowind by storing ingredients into a sapling. Although classified as a player home, it's more of a tiny village like Tel Mithryn, since you also have access to a general store, blacksmith, and a Consulium tower where you can hire merchants to sell supplies. You can also hire guards, wizards, and necromancers, and even have your own silt strider for transportation.
Where do you want to go?
One of the merchants also sell variants of the Telvanni robes, each with their own enchantments. The main tower features tons of rooms for crafting and displaying your items, along with an underground area showcasing the sapling in action. For a player home, this mod is packed with features and I probably only covered a fraction of it, so be sure to visit the mod page if you want to see a full list of them. If you prefer a smaller, more cozier type of player home, then there's Ebongrove. Its interior design, which while is beautifully crafted, preserves that darkened atmosphere similar to Morrowind. Not to mention listening to the Morrowind soundtrack while hearing the waterfalls is really relaxing, especially after a long day of adventuring. Of course, it features its own crafting stations, including a staff enchanter, allows you to teleport to the main cities, shrines of the reclamations, and a spell book that teleports you back to your home. Up next, we'll look at the settlements of Ravenrock and Tel Mithryn, which are overhauls to make them stand out. Quaint Ravenrock provides the town with more character, symbolizing its inhabitants' tenacity and hard work while struggling with the region's harsh conditions. You'll notice improvements to the bulwark for better security, shrines and statues outside the temple, an additional store that sells magic supplies, and a lighthouse which makes sense since the town is to provide a safe haven for the Dunmer fleeing from Morrowind after the eruption of Red Mountain. There's also added clutter in the marketplace, making it more lively. And an underground section filled with some secrets.
Stupid dog.
On the eastern shore of Solstheim is better Tel Mithryn, which provides an expansion to the village, but still serves their purpose. Now there are guards with their own schedules as well as a guard house, a general goods store that sells Dunmeri outfits, its own garden, and a new docking area. Inside Nella's home, you'll have your own bed and storage so you can roleplay as a Telvanni apprentice. The mod has its own prison system as well, but be warned since members of House Telvanni are not to be trifled with.
It's as if Tel Mithryn is cursed. Spoiled food, ash spawn attacks, my servants constantly getting sick. What's next?
For armor, the Dunmer usually craft their very own sets from native wildlife. The Netch leather set is one of the more common ones since its materials are more plentiful compared to leather. The set also comes with masks and goggles which are designed to protect the wearer from ash storms. There is also the Vvardenfell glass armor which can be downloaded as a standalone or from immersive armors and other armor mods. In fact, you can purchase a full set from the blacksmith in Tel Nalta. Another armor set inspired from the Morrowind game is the Morrowind set, which makes the armor more original than a simple retexture of the Quaint armor. For a high quality set, there's the Indoril Ordinator set originally worn by House Indoril, one of the major houses in Morrowind, and also by Ordinators, high-ranking guardsmen of the Tribunal Temple. Warmonger Armory also has his own version of Telvanni robes that come in 3 variants as well as his own enchantments. You can also install the Distribution to NPCs mod where Nalta and his apprentice can be seen wearing the robes. For followers, Teldryn Sero is considered to be one of the most popular from the base game. Not only is he useful in combat, but he has an interesting backstory where he shares some info about his past life before ending up in Solstheim, but doesn't go into full details. The mod Teldryn Series provides a full backstory about his past life, and during the quest you wonder if he's just a simple mercenary making coin, or if he's trying to hide after committing a serious crime in Skyrim.
Well, isn't that something?
The quest is quite intriguing since you're searching for clues while interacting with the NPCs who are aware about Teldryn's situation. It's fully voiced too, using lines from the original game, and features some new areas to explore. For quest mods, there are 3 worth mentioning that references a lot about Morrowind and Dunmer culture. Moon and Star begins when a Dunmer asks you to trail a so-called powerful criminal from Morrowind. During the quest, you end up in a small village called Little Vivec, where you ask the NPCs the whereabouts of this criminal. However, they won't give you a straight answer, and you pretty much have to do a favor for them to help you out, since they know nothing about you.
I'm afraid I can't help you. Sorry. I have a strict policy of customer confidentiality.
Eventually, your trail leads to a Dunmer ruin, where you have to solve some riddles to advance through. Make an incorrect answer, however, and you're in for a fight. While a short quest, it's definitely worth trying out, especially if you like the references, and there are decisions made during the quest that affect you later in the game. Another Morrowind-inspired quest is Tools of Kagrenac, which focuses on finding the legendary artifacts Keen, Cinder, and Wraithguard. Like Moon and Star, you explore Dunmer dungeons and solve puzzles to advance the questline. But there's also alien ruins to explore, and some of them are quite long, filled with traps and enemies. In the end, however, once you obtain the artifacts and restore them to their full glory, you can use them in combat, and they are as powerful as you can expect.
You picked up the time to get friend.
There's also an Ethereum armor set that can be found when exploring one of the ruins. Lastly, if there's one mod that really showcases the culture of Dunmer society, it's Project A.H.O, a DLC-sized quest mod that takes place underground in a Telvanni village called Sadrith Kagan. The quest begins when you meet a mysterious orc, but then all of a sudden are knocked out. Once you wake up, you are auctioned off as a slave to a noble houseman in the village, who and everyone else refer to you as that dreaded term Enwa.
What a worthless Enwa you are!
While you start off in a rough situation, you get to explore the village by doing some miscellaneous quests, and while doing so, you just appreciate the level design of this mod, which is quite amazing, especially with its own soundtrack. The landscape, flora, housing, and architecture not only look great but feels like something straight out of Morrowind. including the NPCs who aren't exactly the friendliest of people.
Or keep to the point, or just scram.
Speaking of which, the NPCs feature some of the best voice acting of any mod I've ever heard, and the way they interact with each other is about as immersive as it gets, since they have their own daily routines.
We're squatting on top of a Dunmer city after all. It's only natural he's obsessed with it. It'll pass with age.
Yeah, right. Look at Shana. He's got more years than this cave.
Like with these Telvanni wizards practicing some magic. Other than the village, there are dozens of new areas to explore, including an open farm area, a Dunmer library, and other dwarven ruins that are quite large in scale. The village even has its own Morrowind agency. The main quest is non-linear, and it's up to you to decide the fate of Cedric again, so interacting with the NPCs is quite important, despite dealing with their xenophobic attitude. Either way, it's one of the more popular quest mods on the Nexus, so trying it out is definitely highly recommended.
Surely this item piques the interest of one of you fine folk.
That's all for today, folks. I've also added some recommended mods in the description, so you can check those out as well. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you all next time. Peace out.
Finally. Now if you'll excuse me. What?